Bruno Fernandes, beautiful ball. Marcus Rashford's onto it, and Rashford scores! Old Trafford triumphant again. Marcus Rashford is himself again.
What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Podcast. Usually it's me, Carson, Jose. Today, it's the one and only Chase Rod. We're hopping on. We're not talking about football. We're not talking about baseball. We're not talking about basketball. We're talking about football. Talk about soccer. Talk about some transfer deadline stuff. European soccer. It's where it's at. I've been on a huge wave recently, so we got an expert in for this episode. Chase, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Liam?
We're doing swell. We're doing swell. Getting ready for Miami to come play, Duke to come play at Miami, but we got soccer to talk about right now. Or we saying football or we saying soccer today?
I don't know. Not many European people will probably see this, so we could just say soccer.
We'll just call it soccer then. All right, so obviously huge transfer deadline. Chelsea spending way too much money on a lot of guys that, have talent, but not a lot of guys that are world class, with all the money you spend. And, the new American owner coming in, going through all these loopholes, 8-year contracts and everything like that to make sure the money's spent, spread out. Just what is going on at Chelsea, Chase? And what do you think this team is going to look like? Obviously, they aren't doing, as well as you'd expect from one of the top teams in the Premier League. Currently just 1 point ahead of Liverpool. One more game played. What do you think Chelsea's going to do going forward? Do you think they have a chance to make a run towards the top of the table, or is there going to be, a restart this summer for them?
Man, it's tough to say because I'm gonna call it football, okay? As a football fan, you've seen this coming for a while at Chelsea. They got rid of their big name in Hazard, but then they try to sign guys that they don't. I don't know. They just don't do much, And they've been trying to find these guys, but it just hasn't worked out for them. And it's finally catching up to them now, where now they have to spend, what was it, 300 million they spent this transfer window? I think it was.
I thought it was more than that, but it was because you got almost half that going to Enzo. So
yeah, it's something crazy.
I think since the summer till now, it was 600 million, I believe.
That's insane. And the reason they can do that is, so the one thing I've seen people is like, why isn't financial fair play coming into this? But financial fair play is a 3-year thing. So it goes on for 3 years. So basically they spent all of their money for 3 years in this one transfer window, basically. And then all the guys that they've signed, the previous years, you start to see them go, like Jorginho. I'm guessing Pulisic is going to be gone. Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah.
Ziyech is probably going to be gone. He's rumored to PSG, and then Mendy, Havertz is probably going. All these guys are probably going to be gone, and then so it's going to be difficult. But the one thing I want to say at Chelsea is that they bought all these players without a director of football.
Yeah,
like basically without a GM. Like it's mind-boggling how ass backwards that is. You want the structure of the club to be there before you do anything. And then they do go and spend however many hundreds of millions of pounds without a structure. It makes no sense. And I think it's going to catch up to them, and they're just going to, it's going to be so bad for them. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's just a weird group of guys. I feel like they truly need a 9, and I don't think João Felix is the guy for them. They got Havertz. It seems like they don't really have a true guy to lead their attack. Is that kind of what you're getting at as well?
Yeah. And then another thing to go off of that is that they bought all of these guys who are unproven. The most proven player that we've seen is Enzo Fernandez, who we've only seen him really play for the last 6 months when he was at Benfica. Maybe the first people who ever saw him were at the World Cup,
Yeah.
and you're buying him off a whim like that for 120 million,
Mm-hmm.
and then you buy, Mudryk for what was it, 70 million,
75.
80 million?
Yeah.
Bro, like a guy who has, I think he has 10 appearances for the Ukraine national team.
Yeah.
Bro, oh, I, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mhm.
Like they're putting in so much money on unproven talent.
Yeah.
Like for that much money, you need proven guys who are going to work for you.
Mhm. Yeah, like
They,
why wouldn't you spend money on like getting a true nine, or I mean, if you wanted to go after another winger, and then spend money on
mhm,
like a real good like midfield, and then
mhm.
let the defense sort it out as is. They got some other good transfers there, but doesn't make sense to just get a bunch of depth. Like if like you're looking at it in like the terms like a video game, like they've got like a bunch of 80 overalls and like no guy that's like a superstar, you know?
Yeah.
It's just it's weird to see like that.
And then when you get that much talent or you bring in that many people, most of those guys aren't going to play.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be unhappy. Then they're going to want out. They're going to cause drama at the club. The next thing you know, you're turning around and selling them for 10 million.
Yeah.
You just lost 60 million on a player to sit on the bench or to do nothing for you. Yeah, I just don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, you like you said, you wouldn't get Mudryk, and then you're playing him what either in front of or behind Sterling, like one of the best, Premier League like wingers like in the last decade, which is
Mhm.
interesting to see. And then like he's what you got uh wait, what Felix I guess is competing at striker with what Havertz I guess is
Yeah,
they don't I mean none of those guys are like real striker builds when it
no.
comes.
And that's the one thing about Chelsea is that they don't have a set formation or play style
Mhm.
in yet. They're trying to put the pieces together midway through the season. You can't do that,
Mhm.
especially if you're going to be a top six club like Chelsea expect them to be. You can't be doing that. You have to have it in line at the beginning of the season. And now I know Graham Potter came in, halfway through the season, whatever.
Yeah, which is hard.
But still, he's been he's been put into it, this.
Felt
So he
bad.
has to pull it around. Yeah, he has to pull it around. Another thing, he he's not even proven. Their coach isn't even proven.
Mhm. Exactly.
In fact, the manager at Brighton now is doing better than he did at Brighton.
Yeah,
So you're
because
like,
look where they are. Exactly.
right, yeah, it's mind-boggling what they're doing at Chelsea.
Yeah, so I guess just looking forward, like to the end of the season, like, do you think they're going to finish at the similar mid-table position?
They'll be, I think, about eighth,
Okay.
eighth
Yeah.
or ninth, unless somehow they pull their head out of their asses and just go on an insane winning streak. But
Which
yeah, I think eighth or ninth.
one of those young guys that they signed is going to have to do something. That's really what's going to be.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
I have my notes. Like Enzo's going to need to like he need there. I think the goal for them is for him to be what Jorginho was, but a younger version of him.
hmm
I mean,
hmm
I don't know. It's just interesting to see. I mean, honestly, like when I first started watching football, like the glory days when Chelsea was so good with Torres and
Yeah,
all those guys, but it's that's Fabregas, shout out Petr Cech, all those dudes. But
yeah,
they're trying to get away from. I mean, what N'Golo Kante is probably going to not be part of this team anymore. I'd imagine, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's been injured the whole season. He's up there in age. He's too unreliable. Yeah, he's got to be gone.
Yeah, and Mendy. I mean, now he's got replaced by Kepa. So who
Mhm.
knows? But we'll move on from there. Obviously, Chelsea, one of the big people that people want to talk about. But out of all the moves, Enzo's the biggest deal. But the biggest deal that we thought we were going to see was Jude Bellingham. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, this guy starting for England, in a stacked midfield position at Dortmund. I think he was at one point in the season, he was one of like the leading like goal contributors. I think he still is up there, but uh, at the end of the day, he didn't get the move that people were expecting him to get. I know teams were trying to like lure Joe Bellingham to come over to be able to get him, kind of like this Giannis Thanasis situation.
Uh-huh.
Um, what do you think now happens with Jude? Obviously that price tag is going to rise. I think regardless of how he plays, because if Enzo's going for that much, Jude's got to be going for that much and more. So, what do you think is going to happen, and where do you think he will end up, or where he will best fit?
I think okay, so Jude played his cards perfectly. Like I think it was last summer. He wanted to go out of Dortmund, but at the end he was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna play, one more season for them. I'm gonna give them all, blah blah blah. And now his price. Now that you see Enzo go for 120 for unproven player, Jude's like, oh, I'm sitting pretty. I'm gonna be the most expensive, probably midfielder ever to go for. And so I think it's between three teams. It's between Liverpool, Man City, and Real Madrid.
Mhm.
And I think the favorites to sign him are Real Madrid. Just because if you look at their squad, they're two, I'd say, best midfielders. Luka Modric and Toni Kroos. Toni Kroos is retiring at the end of the season, and
Mhm.
Luka Modric is 37. Now, Luka Modric is still balling, but he's 37.
Yeah, you gotta have
You're going to
consistency.
have a gap, one, maybe 2 more years left of like high level Modric. So I think if I'm Real Madrid, I'm putting all my money on Jude Bellingham to save that midfield, to save that aging squad. Because if you look, like their squad is old. You
Yeah,
got Benzema, 35. Who are they going to sign for their striker to replace Benzema? It's not going to be Mariano. The dude he just doesn't play. He's not good enough. Hazard, he's Hazard is so bad now. But I just, yeah. I think if I'm Real Madrid, I'm putting in all my money on him. Now, there is a scenario where he goes to Man City, and Man City, sells off Gundogan, and then maybe another forward to bring in that money for Jude. And I think that would be a really good fit for him with Pep. He'd be, De Bruyne on one side, Jude on the left, Rodri
ooh,
at the DM.
ooh, that's nasty.
Crazy, crazy. Now, if he wanted to go to where I think he would flourish a lot, that would be City.
Mhm.
I think you got Liverpool, who their midfield just is diabolical right now.
Yeah.
Diabolical. They need so much help.
Mhm.
Not I think you need more than Jude. You
Mhm.
need someone else other than Jude. I mean, Jude would help tons for their midfield, but you need another one alongside him, maybe two more. Yeah.
Mhm.
But if I was him, I think Real Madrid or Man City. But I think Real Madrid are the favorites right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Liverpool, the situation, like you said, it's like if he goes in there, he makes it better, but it's not a situation he'd probably want to play. Like if he's going to want to play with the best midfield, it's going to be Man City. But I think if he wants to play on the best team and be able to turn back and build the dynasty that they used to be, it would be Real. Because I mean, Liverpool, like they don't really have a lot of young guys that are in the same timeline as Jude. I guess what you got Nunez and Diaz. I mean, Trent's got to turn shit around, but
Yeah.
with City, you have imagine a core of Foden, Holland, and Bellingham going forward. Like that's insane, and that he'd be able to have the time to play with KDB, and then also take the reins from him eventually. Like that would be crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Real, like they're gonna need to make a push because if the season, if history repeats itself into how it is with the mid-table positions in La Liga, Barcelona is going to win the league and to have to compete with their midfield, which is going to be one of the it's world class. Their midfield with
Yeah.
Gavi and Pedri, and whoever that ends up being the Sergio Busquets replacement, whether that be Kessie or someone else. No, yeah, they're definitely going to need that. Real probably needs him more, but I think he might want Man City more. I mean,
Yeah.
literally said so.
No, you said it perfectly. Yeah.
And so, what's the price tag? What do you think he goes?
Now that with Enzo going for 120, it's got to be 140, 150.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And he's
That
just
that just totally reset the market.
exactly.
Totally reset the market. Yeah, it's mind-boggling, but yeah.
It's crazy. And then who will be just side question, who's going to be the next Dortmund star to leave after him?
Oh, Dortmund star to leave. Probably. Let me see. Um,
I
mm,
mean, I know he just re-upped his contract, but like Mukuko, I think how you pronounce his name. Like
yeah,
eventually
Mukuko.
he's going to be the one to move on. He's literally younger than us. That's crazy. That's scary.
Yeah.
And he
Didn't he
played,
like just turn 18 too?
yeah, and he played in the World Cup.
Yeah, that's insane. Probably him. I'm trying to think of who their wingers are.
Like Kareem Adeyemi.
Nah, he's gonna need a couple more years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think Reina? I mean, Reina's been good since the World Cup. Like, do you think he's gonna?
When
Is
is he gonna
he
go?
moving to Leeds? Is he moving to Leeds?
I was just thinking, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds went in for him.
But they already got
I
Aaron.
would not be surprised.
But he's probably he's more talented than Aronson though. So
Yeah, you put Rain on the right, Aronson through the middle. Who's
McKinney.
on the left? Oh yeah, McKennie and
Oh,
Adams.
Rodrigo, right? Or is that their striker?
Rodrigo would either play striker, and then on the left wing you probably have that Yonkto,
Hmm.
the small Italian
Yes.
winger. He's really good. But yeah, he's only like 5'5" or something like that. It's crazy.
So I mean, Jude, he's definitely going for a bag. I think. Do you think there's any way he stays?
No.
Okay, in agreement as well. But moving on. I mean, actually, yeah, we kind of touched on Liverpool, but as we were mentioning, they need Jude, but there's more than just a guy like Jude that they need. What do you think Liverpool would have to do in order to, bring themselves back? I mean, this was a Champions League winning team, Premier League winning team, and they are far from that this season. What do you change? Klopp, I think, has this history. I forgot like what it is, but it's like he has these seasons with his teams where he just does horrendously. Whether
It's
we're Dortmund, is
the
what's
7-year curse.
yeah, the 7-year curse. Yeah, now it's the 7-year curse here in Liverpool. Is he going to make it to the? I mean, will the 8th year like turn around, or is he going to make it to the 8th year? What's your thoughts?
You'll make it to the 8th year. They just need a totally revamped midfield, and then they also need to get their attackers healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who was yeah, it was you know, you have Diaz who's been injured most of the year. Diogo Jota who's also been injured. Those are two of their best players from last year injured this year. So injuries don't help, but also their
Age,
squad is. What was that?
the age doesn't help either.
The age does not help. Bro. They need like you have Thiago 31 and 32,
He's only
and James. Or
31.
sorry, Jordan. Thiago's only 31, but he plays like he's 37. You got Jordan Henderson, who's 32, might as well be 37. And you got James Milner, who's 37.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just these guys, they just need a totally revamped midfield. Like,
Do you think
that's
LeBron
a
had a
simple
chance
thing.
to go play there? I mean, the greatest Liverpool fan of all time.
I put him at center back. He's
He's
going
gonna
to be the
pass
greatest
Kareem
center
and he's
back.
gonna go play there. Some big headers.
Yeah. And then you got like Naby Keita, who they bought for, I think it was like 60 million. He just hasn't worked out. Like, they just, they need to get their transfers in check, and that aging squad slash midfield. They just
Mm-hmm.
maybe I think a good signing for them would be McAllister from
Yeah.
Brighton.
Mm-hmm. That's
That'd be
my
good.
top
And then
center.
like one or two other center mids, but they need some serious help.
And some youth. Yeah, exactly. And Trent's got to figure himself out. I mean, do you think a position change could be in the ring for him?
No, I just think this season because Liverpool they've not played the way they've played for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
The last couple of years they've been, we're gonna press you until we win the ball, and then once we win the ball, we're gonna possess. Like they would go balls to the wall, press, and that would hurt them sometimes. But sometimes they would win the ball, they'd swing it out to Trent because the other team would be counterattacking, whatever. They'd swing it out to Trent, he'd put it across. It'd be almost like a guaranteed goal, like it seemed. But they've been the word that I've used for them is they've been passive this season. They just don't look like they have the bite, the hunger that they'd had in previous seasons. And I don't know if that's Klopp not motivating his team or if the team is they've just been fed up, or I don't know, but something needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they literally just lost today 3-0 to Wolves. I mean, it's conceding an own goal as well on top of that. That's just not a good sight. Now, they got to fix – I mean, if they lose to Everton, we're going to have a lot of problems. But, I mean, they definitely need to show it against Newcastle, a Champions League contender at this point. If
they just need –
No, continue.
Go on.
Oh,
they just need one bounce back win. And I think they'd be like, okay, like we're like, lads, we can do this. Like we just have to focus really hard. But they need that one bounce back win. And that'd probably be against like a top 6 club, top 7.
Yeah.
But they need it bad. They need it bad.
And then like not like a 1-0, like a 1-0 win. Like they need like a 3-0, like 3-1, like solid victory.
A convincing dominant win.
Exactly. Another question to ask. We were just talking about Newcastle briefly. How does their team change with them making the Champions League, like when players wanting to come play for them? Because I feel like you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have, a track record or like at least be looking in the right direction, people aren't going to want to play with you. How dangerous can Newcastle become, if they make qualify for the Champions League, having a summer transfer window? Like, what do you think can happen with them?
They can be really dangerous. I mean, you've seen the way they've played. And, they brought, what are they? They're 4th, right? I think they're 4th. They're a couple points ahead of Tottenham, a couple points behind United. But then they haven't had that like true transfer window where they, we're going all in on the squad. Like, let me look at their transfers, but they've had
only team with 1 loss, which is crazy. I mean, they've had a lot of damn draws, but still, 1 loss is very impressive.
And I mean, the only notable team they brought in over January is Anthony Gordon.
Yeah,
where he did look lively today. I will give them that. But they need a creative midfielder. Like they don't like looking at their squad today. They have workhorses in the midfield. They don't have they need a creative midfielder. Like I think
Madison.
I think James Madison would be perfect for them. Stick him attacking mid / center mid, and you feed him the balls. He has the ability to turn, create, whip a ball into the box, or take a long shot or whatever. But it seems like everything he does leads to a goal. And I think he would just be perfect for them because they have Joelinton and Joe Willock, who are fine midfielders, I guess. Joe Willock, there's a reason Arsenal sold him. And Joelinton, there's a reason he's not number 9. Like they bought him for. He's a makeshift center mid. Does he do the dirty work? Yes. Are they good going forward? Not really. So they just need a creative attacking midfielder, which I think Madison would be perfect for.
Because they got a damn good striker. Shout out my Swedish man Isaac, and their right back Trippier. I mean, he's class at this point. So just need to keep moving on from there. And I mean, like I was telling you earlier before we filmed, apparently Ferdinand Mendy they threw a bag at. Did not get him yet, but that would be a huge addition. They might be able to. They might kick Spurs out of that top 6 in the Prem. Like those top 6 teams.
Yeah.
Who knows with Tottenham at this point? Their shelf is as empty as it can be. So moving on from that, moving out of the Prem, let's talk about PSG facing up against Bayern in the round of 16 of the Champions League without Kylian Mbappe. Obviously, thinking, oh, they got Messi and Neymar. those guys have not been the way that they were, before the World Cup. And Messi hasn't been playing like he was during the World Cup. You got a team that's got lacking depth at the center back position. Sure, you got, class fullbacks. But I don't know if this team can survive against Bayern without Mbappe. I mean, that guy can, like you saw in the World Cup, that dude can single-handedly change a game. He changed Arsenal. I mean, Argentina were surefire winners of that game until Mbappe came around and scored a hat trick. But obviously, Argentina won. But still, what are your thoughts? Do you think PSG is going to have another failed Champions League run? And if so, how does that affect them? Going into the summer window, and a failed experiment out there if they don't, because this is a team that isn't completely dominant in League One like they should be. They haven't won. With all the talent they've had, they haven't won as many titles as they should. And this is a team that still hasn't won a Champions League and has seen absurd talent come through that team.
Yeah, exactly. They have the talent. I just don't know if they can put it on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like on, get results or whatever. But with Messi and Neymar, you always have a high chance of winning. But to me, it all comes down to their defense. You look at their defense. Sergio Ramos, not that good this year. Kimpembe, decent. Marquinhos is their best defender, and he really has to carry that defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, I'm guessing they go Neymar left, Messi right, and then they go. I think his name is Ekitike. He's a young striker, but he's been playing decently this season. 14 appearances, 3 goals, 4 assists. Yeah, on loan. But I think they have a good chance at Bayern, because Bayern has been dropping points in the Bundesliga.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they haven't been dominant either.
They're not even
that. Yeah, not even close. But yeah, I don't know. Like, PSG, to me, this is what happened. Like, a couple years ago with oh my gosh, who was their manager? Old Spurs manager.
Hold up, I pull it up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Thomas. Or you talking about Thomas Tuchel or Unai Emery?
Tuchel, Unai Emery, and then who was the one after that? He's Argentinian. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Pochettino.
Pochettino, yeah. With all those guys, they had all the talent in the world, but that talent doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It can't, like, they don't work for the team. They're not willing to sacrifice. Yeah, like, you watch Neymar and Messi and Mbappe on defense, they just walk. They walk, leaving their midfield and defense out to dry.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't think that with the 3 of them, they can win the Champions League. But without Mbappe, you get Ekitike, who can work. He's a pretty big workhorse. He can drop into the midfield and help them out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just think Bayern have had better form than PSG, and I think Bayern wins it.
It's just insane.
It's gonna be tough
to think about the guys that have played at PSG: Ronaldinho, Ibrahimovic, Cavani. I mean, obviously Neymar, Mbappe, Messi. It's just a crazy group of people that have played there, and they have no Champions League, correct? Yeah,
they have nothing to show for it.
That's just embarrassing. And I mean, it's surprising to me that Mbappe even re-signed. I mean, I feel like, if he cares about his legacy, people aren't gonna dock him if he never goes and plays in a more competitive league. Because like people can say like that's like the argument between Messi and Ronaldo. They're like, Ronaldo went, into the Serie A and he led them to the top. He played in Manchester and he led them to the top. But they say, oh, Messi only played in La Liga, but he was playing against one of the best players of all time himself, in Ronaldo. So, but like, who's Mbappe competing against in League One? No one. He's competing against himself. That's what he is then.
Exactly.
So, Yeah, what happens if Bayern beats them? Where do you think where do they have to go with this? Do you think they're just going to sack another manager?
I mean, their manager, he's been they've been playing better than previous years, so I think he's on the right direction. It's just with an aging Messi, I don't know how much longer he wants to be there. Neymar's getting up there.
Mhm.
I don't know how much he wants to be there too. He might want something else.
Mhm.
You look at all the way down the line, you think, does this guy really want to be here? Like Ramos. Sergio Ramos is 36. Does
Let's
he
say,
really want to be at PSG? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think they would sack another manager, but they have to try something different.
is there a name that you think that they could go after that would like make sense? Because what, it's got to be in defense or midfield. Probably defense first and
It
foremost.
has to be defense, I think.
Like
You get
Gavardiola.
Guardiola,
Yeah.
Guardiola left center back.
Mm,
You get Marquinhos central center back, and then you get
Men,
you get
Hakimi.
Skriniar at
Yeah.
who they're going to sign over the summer at
Correct.
right center back. Then you play Numenge and Hakimi on the right. I think that's a better defense than they have now.
Mhm.
But we'll see if it equates to anything. But yeah,
Well, yeah, I feel like they could definitely be in trouble though, because what's the point of staying at all you're saying like we got one more year? Because if Mbappe wasn't there, I'm not trying to diss him. Like this team isn't that crazy though. Like if Mbappe's not there, it's really just like an aging Neymar and Messi playing on the wings, which
yeah,
both those guys were class to start the season. And I mean, Messi's accomplished all he's need to at this point. I mean, what is there more for him to do? I mean, same with Ronaldo. Like he's shown the world what he can do. That's why he's out there on the SAR playing, making tons of money. But
mm-hmm.
I mean, I would here in Miami, they all wanted to see him come down here because that's box office. He
Yeah,
would be able to get the Beckham kind of money when he came over. Obviously, not
mm-hmm.
his prime, but still. So interesting.
Yeah.
Moving on. We talked about Real Madrid. So a little bit more in depth about that. What do you think they need to do? Obviously Jude's a name that they should 100% throw their name in the bag for, but who else should they be going after or position wise to keep this team, the level that they've been, the Champions League, gods the last couple of decades.
They need a new striker,
Mm-hmm.
and well, not a new striker, but one to sit behind
Just,
Benzema until he leaves or retires. Because I mean, he's 35, and sure he did, just win the Ballon d'Or, but at 35, Real Madrid's got to be thinking we need a backup plan if things go south. We need a backup plan, and I think one of them could be Dusan Vlahovic from Juve.
mm-hmm.
One could be Osimhen from Napoli, and then I don't. Do you have any names you want to throw out?
I know Kane's always been rumored there, but I don't think it would be hard for him to sit behind them like that.
Yeah,
He's too old to want to do that.
yeah,
Because we talked about this before, their wingers are set.
mm-hmm.
Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. Vinicius, he's going to be the next Brazilian Neymar. I mean, no shit, of course. He's going to be the next top winger for Brazil. And then, like we said, are they going to go? I mean, they don't really need to go after Gavardiol. I know he was rumored there, but I feel like they got a really strong two center backs.
Their defense right now is their best
mm-hmm.
part of their team for me.
Yeah, and
yeah,
we also talked about. You think Davies? I know now they got Cancelo out there. The best probably fullback duo. In all of Europe. Do you think they still make a? Do you think they have a chance of making a play for him?
I don't know. It would be up to Bayern to see if they want to keep Cancelo because it's just a loan for now. But if they decide to keep Cancelo, yeah, if they decide to keep Cancelo, I think if I was Davies, I'd want to maybe just look at my options, see what comes in, because he doesn't have to make a move.
Mm-hmm.
He's perfectly fine where he is. It's just that if Bayern is willing to, and who are the buyers going to be, essentially. But
but do you think Pep like just says like F it, like I'll give you my guy, you give me, and then I want to buy Davies off you? Would that make sense with his like philosophy?
They've done it before with João Cancelo. So Juve had João Cancelo and Man City had Danilo, and they basically did a swap where Juve got Danilo, City got João Cancelo, but then City had to pay an extra fee, blah blah blah. I think we could see some similar to that. It's just I don't know if Davies would fit the criteria that Pep wants, because what Pep wants is he basically wants a midfielder at left back,
Mm-hmm.
because with his left backs they're inverted. They go into the midfield, numbers up, get numbers up in the midfield, play from there. I don't know if Davies has the touch for that, or he's more of a true winger left back who just flies up and down, up and down, up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Pep would want that, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely interesting thing to see. And then you just mentioned Juve. I mean, this is a team that has a crisis right now. I mean, apparently there's a rumor that it might even drop 20 more points for I think financial misplay, or however you say that, which would put them in relegation to Serie B, which ruins the team if that happens. So what do you think Juventus got to do? Because we talked about this team's old as hell. Like, and you got Pogba, who I laughed. I didn't know he was 29. I thought this dude's like 34, because like that's how long he's been around. I mean, when did he win like best what's it called? Did he win Golden Boy, right? Like super long time ago?
Like that, I think it was like his first year at Juve. Yeah, it was way back.
No, yeah. So what do you think what's gonna happen now with I mean, obviously you've seen him play on your team before. Do you think they just gotta get rid of him? A locker room cancer, I guess.
Yeah, it's just Pogba is a weird player because he needs freedom, but not many teams are willing, not many high level teams are willing to give him the freedom that he needs to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
Like with um with his most successful has over the past couple of years has been with France, where
Mm-hmm.
he has N'Golo Kante at as the true seat like DM to just clean up everything, whereas Pogba can attack, go out on the wing, do whatever he needs to do, and Conte will just sit there and do the dirty work that
Mm-hmm.
needs to be done. But most managers don't they don't want a free flowing guy in the midfield who just does what he wants. They need structure. They need people say like, oh, but KDB, KDB is kind of like that, but there's a structure to it that Pep wants and expects from De Bruyne, and he performs that. That's why he's
And
so good.
there's different levels to those guys.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But and I don't think Juve is in the position. They're fighting an upward battle where they can just let him free roam and do whatever he wants. Like they need structure. They need guys who just work hard and that. And you look at the squad. I mean, Bonucci 35, Quadrado 34,
Di Maria 30.
Danilo 31, yeah, Di Maria 34, Alexandro 32. Like it's an aging squad.
Mm-hmm.
And the young players that they do have, I mean, they're not that good yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see all the old guys still starting. But they need to bring in, I don't know. And if they do get relegated, that
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll even be a club in 10 years. But
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, like Vlahovic is gone. I mean, like literally that team's got a clean house if that happens, which
mhm.
I mean, obviously the top guy, one of the best nines in the world, Vlahovic, where do you think he would go? Or, I mean, who knows if he even stays, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think maybe I know Arsenal. You said Arsenal were in for him. That could be a good fit, but I don't know with Jesus, him, and Ketia, and now Balogun balling out in the league on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. I just I don't know about Vlahovic. Like when I watch him, I think he's all over the place. Like it just I don't know how to explain it in words, but like the way when I watch him, it frustrates me because he's a big guy, like he's 6'3",
Mhm.
but he doesn't play big. Like he wants to play like a little, like a forward who wants the ball at his feet and dribbles everywhere.
Yeah.
But what he needs to be is a Lukaku, where he just gets on the center back's, shoulder and just beats him to the front post, back post, or whatever, and just becomes like a ball magnet in the box.
Mhm.
But yeah, maybe United going for him because we need a 9. But
I think there's a different guy in the Serie A that you want to go for, though.
Yeah,
Which we're transitioning to that point. Let's talk about Osimhen.
Osimhen, what a
Top
baller!
player in Liga this year.
What a baller!
Yeah.
I mean, he's now the price tag is going to be big for him.
What do you think he
Big.
goes at?
I know they rejected. I think they rejected like an 80 million pound one over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now it's closer to 100.
Yeah.
100 mil. But yeah,
And do you think Man U's the place for him to land?
Manu or maybe Madrid. I think sit 1 year behind Benzema or plays off of him or whatever you want to do. But I think that'd be good. But I think right now United is the number one place he should go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's just rapid fire off some names. I guess we'll just give our opinions on it. Obviously, Jude. I think it's Real or it's Man City. At least
Mm-hmm.
what makes the most sense. I mean,
Yeah.
Liverpool needs him more, but those two teams would make him thrive the most.
Yeah.
Moises Caicedo. I mean, we talked about this. Hadn't moved to Arsenal, which failed. Do you think that he just goes back there?
I think so. Either that, I know Chelsea were in for him, but now that they got Enzo,
They can't spend any
they're
money.
they're out. Yeah, I think Arsenal's probably the best place for him. Or I think I saw a rumor that United was in for him. Him and Casemiro as our two kind of DMs.
Casemiro is disgusting this year.
Bro, so good.
I'm
I mean,
surprised. What, he went for 50?
I think it was 50 or 60. Yeah,
And he's the best center defensive mid in the world. Yeah, so
such a baller, such a baller. I
change
mean,
their season.
bro, if we don't have him, we have to play McTominay or Fred at the DM. We're gonna be closer to Chelsea. Like
Right.
it's so bad, but he's just I love him.
Rafael Leao. I mean, the Portuguese guy. People were saying Jack Grealish plus fees for him. That would be
That's
filthy.
where
But
that's where my mind went to on where he should go. City or you say it again, but Chelsea's in for everyone. But Chelsea over the summer, I know we're in for him, and things didn't work out. But
could you
I think
see Castle going after him?
I don't know if Newcastle. The thing with Newcastle is they're a relatively new club to the Big Six.
Yeah.
Like this is their first year of like being good in what 20 years, 20 plus years probably. Back when Alan Shearer was their number one guy, but they need. I think they need one more season after this one to where guys are like, yeah, I want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I think this whole project that Newcastle are doing is still it's up in the air. People don't really know if the owners are serious, blah blah blah. But I think one more year where they do, they get top four. I think that's when guys are starting to go to them.
Awesome. All right, so Kane, we got to throw his name in there. I mean, he's like the Bradley Beal, where like he's always up, he's always up in the trend the rumors. Because I mean, he's a wasted talent at this point. Like where he's playing, like he should be playing on a team like Man U, or like Chelsea. Like being like that true 9 for a team because he's one of the best talents the Prem's seen, and he's gonna go down as a what if unless something happens this summer. The world, you're playing Football Manager. Like, what team do you want him to go to?
What team? Now listen, this would never work out because they're the biggest rivals of each other. But him in that Arsenal team, they'd be so scary.
Mhm.
They'd be really scary. But I think he would work well at United, just being a big target man who also can drop into the midfield and let Rashford and Anthony or whoever run in behind, maybe Sancho.
Mhm.
That'd be good. You know, City they signed Holland, so that wouldn't work out. And then Real Madrid, he wouldn't want to sit under Benzema or do like 50-50 with Benzema. He's
He
in
would
a
be the
difficult
best
situation.
replacement for Lewandowski, in my opinion. I mean, because like you're always looking like in like you got like the top leagues, but like he's not going to go to Serie A. Like, what's the point of that? Like that's just a downgrade in competition. I mean, everything's a downgrade in competition, obviously from the Prem, but like
Mm-hmm.
you want to go to like a Bundesliga, League One. There's no reason for him to go there. It would make like I think Bayern would be perfect for him. That team would be filthy.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
top guy on the wings, the defense, and to have, a guy that can put up Lewandowski numbers because that's what he is. I think that team would easily win a Champions League with him.
Yeah. No, you hit it right on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Him, him and that Bayern team would just be Lewandowski 2.0. Now listen, he's not as agile as Lewandowski, but the dude scores goals, and that's what you really want from your nine. So yeah, he would work. He
Yeah.
would work well.
Gavardiol. Gavardiol. Yeah, Gavardiol.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua, where do you think he goes?
It's tough, man. I think PSG would be a great fit for him, and they had the money to do so. Again, Chelsea ran on him, but he wouldn't go to Chelsea. I don't know who would be good. Honestly, I could see Tottenham going in for him
They could need
because
it. They need that center back.
yeah, they need a left-footed center back. They need defenders, really. But he'd be really good for him. I just don't know if they pay the fee that he'd be asking, or not that he'd be asking, but that Leipzig would be asking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see him going to Madrid. Their defense is solid.
I mean, I guess going back to it, do you think that he could be like the first domino and effective, like real transfers for Newcastle?
Ooh,
Because like
I don't.
he's not world class. I mean, like he played like in the World Cup, but like he needs like probably a season or two like to really solidify himself as like one of those top guys, regardless of what his value is. But like he's a guy where it's not too far fetched to say that he could end up there.
Yeah, it's just that Newcastle over the summer they signed Sven Botman, who's also a left-footed center back, who's been class this season.
Mm-hmm.
He has been so good this season. So I don't think they'd be ready to. I don't think they would play two left-footed center backs. But crazier things have happened. I don't know. Maybe they're going for him. But yeah.
Madison, we just talked about it. We think Liverpool would be a good option for him. Any other teams that come to mind? Real
Newcastle.
What'd you say?
Wait, Madison? James Madison?
Yeah, James Madison.
Yeah, Newcastle. Go to Newcastle. It'll be better for your career. Go to Newcastle. It'll help them out a ton.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the last midfielder on this list, McAllister, huge value increase, like a lot of those guys on Argentina after the World Cup win.
Mm-hmm.
Where can you see him going? Another
Liverpool.
great midfielder. Yeah.
He can go to Liverpool. He can go to. I can see him at Spurs, maybe. Probably not City.
Any league
Maybe,
outside of Prem?
I could see PSG going in for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
like make Messi happy or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, probably. But that's about it. Maybe I don't know if he would go there, but Atletico Madrid. Him and his Argentinian teammate DePaul in the midfield.
Nasty.
That could be solid.
They're always slept. I mean, who do they have right now playing up front without Ja? I mean, Ja's.
They signed Memphis Depay.
Oh yeah, for like 2 million.
Yeah, for nothing basically. Yeah.
Um, I guess before we end it off, how do you think Man U's going to do the rest of the season? Obviously, you got one of the most informed players, a guy who dominated the World Cup, in Marcus Rashford. You got question marks at the striker position. You got Anthony, a guy that probably needs to still prove himself out there, besides doing fucking dribble moves. What's going on? I mean, you got a world class, defensive mid, and De Gea, who's he's going to be on his last legs in due time. So go off.
Yeah, I mean, going into this season, I was not looking forward to it. I knew we were going to be not bad, but I knew it was going to be down here for us. New manager coming in. Not that many signings coming in. I mean, we had Anthony, who is electric, but we already have wingers kind of like him. And I was really hoping. I was like, we need a defensive midfielder. We need one. And we got Casemiro. I was like, okay, so I'm starting to heat up. And then Ten Hag, the manager, started getting more time. Guys started to play well, understand the system, and we've just been playing so much better. Like, if you remember our first 3 or 4 games, we were diabolical. I think we were last. We were 20.
Everyone was like, "Is this team getting relegated?" Like that was like people were. I mean, blasphemy, but like that was talked about.
Yeah, we were last in the Premier League, and I was like, okay, maybe not this bad is what I was expecting, but we turned it around, which is really great, and I'm excited. I think we're gonna finish third, probably comfortably. But it all comes down to injuries. I mean, if Rashford can stay fit, if Casemiro can stay fit, our backline can stay fit, I think we have a really good shot at getting third. I think third is ours to take. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, just talking about my boys at Barcelona, I couldn't be more happier this season. I mean, Lewandowski has been playing, up to the level of the status he is. We had the best midfield in the world. I think there's nothing about that. I'm so happy Frankie de Jong did not go to Man U. That guy's filthy.
Come in the summer, please.
He's one of the best midfielders in the world as well. Pedri continuing to do well. Gavi's been so-so. But it sucks to say Ousmane Dembele go down. He's been absolute dog this year. But we still got – and we've had a lot of injuries. I mean, I know at least in the center back position, I believe Arroyo was out for a decent bit. So we had I know Koundé moved out to right back, which, Chelsea fans ain't gonna like how we got him anyway. But I think the only thing that we may need is someone to have in the wings for Lewandowski, because he's got 23 goals in competitions this year, which is insane. But like Depay's gone. We truly don't have another guy behind him that I think we can put our faith into. So obviously we sold Aubameyang. Thank goodness that guy's just need. But I like the young talent we got. Balde obviously is going to be a great fullback for us in the future. Enzo Fati's just got to figure some stuff out, because he comes in, gets those goals when he gets subbed in, but he needs to be a consistent guy for us. Him and Rafinha up top would, they need to develop. But I don't know. It's looking a lot better for us, in my opinion, than it is for Real Madrid at this point, because our young midfielders are miles ahead of their young midfielders. Should Gavi have won the Golden Boy? Probably not. Actually, probably not. He definitely did not deserve the Golden Boy, but he's still respectable in his own right. It should have been Jude or Musiala, but I'm excited to see. I mean, honestly, we got a matchup. I think February 13th we're playing against each other in the
the Europa League.
That'll be a good game.
It's a really good game
to watch. So we'll see how that goes. A little banter there, but maybe Marcus Rashford's gonna destroy new hairline himself. We'll see. Exactly. Everyone's stealing the Marcus Rashford celebration now. He's He's starting a new wave, like when Melo was doing the 3 to the head dome. So,
Yeah.
but no, that'll be a good game, and yeah, we will see. But until next time, I guess maybe we got to come at this, looking at the Champions League preview.
Yeah.
Maybe bring Jose on. I know he likes to talk some soccer every once in a while, and definitely this summer we're gonna have to revisit this because
Oh yeah.
who knows where these guys that we talked about will be on the move or names that we didn't even know about
Exactly.
come around. So it's been a pleasure, and as always, Cusco's podcast signing out. Peace.